move. Feel my toes.
Sup, assholes?
Holy shit, Matt, it actually worked. We made it to the past. Wait, what do you mean the past? Are you future me?
Yes, we're future you, and we've come back from the future to stop you from doing horrible things.
Like what kind of horrible things? Well, for starters, you accidentally called 30 days a night, 50 days a night, 3 times in the first chiller filler. Dude, we already aired that. That went out today. Son of a bitch! Wait, that means you haven't done the live event yet. We can stop that travesty. There's something bad happens at the live event at Poor Brothers? If you want to say Brandon accidentally hanging dong live in front of the whole audience, then yes, something bad happens. Wait, Brandon hung dong at Poor Brothers Brewery live? Yes, Brandon hung dong at Poor Brothers Brewery live. On July 1st, he accidentally slips, not wearing underwear, hangs dong in front of everybody. We gotta stop that from happening.
Will the boys save the future? Can they stop Brandon from hanging dong? Find out at the United States of Paranormal Live, July 1st at Poor Brothers Brewery in Beaumont, Texas, at 7 p.m.
When I'm thirsty, I reach for an ice-cold Coca-Cola.
It's not even a Coca-Cola.
Shut the fuck up. It's an ad read.
Hey there, travelers. You look beat. Come in, take a seat while I tell you about a creepy, chocolatey treat that's guaranteed to drive the ghouls crazy. With its spine-chilling filling, the all-new United States of Paranormal Chiller.
Welcome back, all you wayward listeners, to the United States of Paranormal podcast. And that's right, you heard right. This week it is a chiller filler episode where you get back together with Team Tejas to discuss our ever-changing views on the paranormal and the different kind of spooky content we've, soaked in over the last few weeks and everything. You got me, Logan, and sitting right next to me is Matt Frisby. Hey, Matt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Last time I spoke, you yelled at me. What's up, everybody?
And then next to Matt is Boze. How's it going, Boze?
Could be better.
See, there's that low fucking... His tone changes every time he sits in front of the fucking mic.
See, but this has been an improvement. Suddenly, it could be better instead of, I just want to die.
But see, now we're circling back around to it, us talking about it, so technically it's same old, same old. How has everybody's week been, Matt? How was your week?
I certainly can't complain. It's pretty busy around my house, but it's never not, so same old, I guess.
Same old? All right. Brandon, how was your week?
Well, I sprained my ankle and was able to get out 3 days of work, so that was an improvement.
Are those paid days of work? Are they paid days of work?
Yeah, I got that PTO, baby.
There you go.
That's why it could be better instead of, I was crying in my van this week.
He was just crying in his house. My week's been pretty chill, too. It's a little convoluted, because the timeline and how we have backlog and everything, but we just released our prelude episode this week. So yeah. It's out there, everybody's being listened to and everything. It's been pretty cool hearing people react and tell us about what they think. Ironically, about an episode where we do something like this, where we're just going to be sitting around talking about...
Yeah, absolutely. It's done... More people have seen it than I could have hoped would actually watch a first episode.
And it's only going to grow, baby. It's going to keep going. We're only a few days down.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. Everything's going great. We're getting some cool designs out there, some really neat merch designs, and then also every one of us are diving more and more into neat paranormal stuff. It's something I've always delved into, but I know it's newer stuff for both of you, and you're learning more and more every week. So that's got to be a pretty neat feeling.
Yeah. No, like I said, I've always been a horror fan, but this is the first time I've ever actually started delving into real horror stories. So it's been a very interesting, period.
Makes stepping outside at night or walking into a dark room very different than
On that note, I shit you not, I've wanted to talk to both of you about this so bad since this has happened, but I've kept it quiet so we could talk about it on the podcast. Okay. So the other night, me and Kayla, Friday night we went to bed kind of early. It was a long week. I'm just kind of tired. So we were laying in bed around like 10:45, 11 o'clock at night, and we're looking at HBO Max and trying to pick out, like, I found a list of horror movies, and I was like, which one is it? And after we sit there and I goad her into helping me pick one finally, we settled on the 1970, I want to say 78 Amityville Horror.
Okay.
The original,
Yeah,
the one
yeah.
that Ryan Reynolds movie was made after, right? And we sit down and we start watching it. And fun fact, that movie, you don't see a ghost once. At the most, you see a superimposed dog-looking head at one point in a window and two red eyes that are unhumanly far apart in a window. That is it. That is it. You don't see a single ghost that whole movie. But we're sitting there, and we're probably like for 1978, that's a 2-hour long movie.
Well, you got to think of the period of the time. Like, back then, any type of drama or horror film was a lot longer than what we
really
see
long.
today.
But I swear on my life, we're sitting there in bed, like halfway through this movie, and I start hearing what sounds like a fucked off nursery rhyme. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then I start hearing what sounds like a baby and a cat almost making a noise. Like, it just sounds distorted, like a baby crying, but distorted.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, what is that? And so I pause the movie thinking for a brief second, like, maybe it's the movie. And I pause it and it stops and then it starts back up again. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I go to get up and I stop myself and I was like, I legitimately always say when this shit happens, I'm not going to be the motherfucker that gets up and goes and looks. I was like, I don't want to. So I hesitated. Like, you could ask Kayla. Like, I got up and then I sat down and I got up and then I just turned on all the lights in the living room and walked out. And it is coming from a baby doll. The girls have their toy corner.
Uh-huh.
And it is a baby doll that hasn't been played with in forever, buried underneath all the stuff, undisturbed, just going off. And it stopped. By the time I got out in the hallway, it stopped.
Uh-huh.
And then Kayla was like, I think I know which one that could be making that noise. And it's this silly looking big headed baby. And then sure enough, I pick it up, and me picking up and moving the stuff off it doesn't make it make noise. But I pick it up and I push the button, and sure enough, it makes the weird distorted baby crying noise and the music. So I know it's this one.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, nope. I walked it to the front door. I opened the fucking front door. I tossed it out on the fucking balcony and locked the fucking door. And now it stays out. It's still outside. It's in fucking Kyle's cooler from Renaissance Festival. It's left on my balcony. It is in there, and it's just staying there. And May walked outside. And she was like, "Why is the baby outside?" I was like, "The baby's broken. The baby's staying outside."
Yeah, until you get home and you find it sitting on your counter or something.
Dude, I tell you what, it stopped my heart. Like, it just legitimately, I was like, no. Because it sounds silly, like, to talk about, especially since the nature of our podcast. Like, we're like, oh, we're plugging the paranormal. We're not. But, like, it's just like that happened. And then, like, 3 days in a row, the girls on a shelf in their room that they cannot reach, specifically there so they can't reach it, so they can't get to it, they have one of those little lights that you turn on. It shows the constellations. It's shaped like a cylinder and has a cap you put on top that also has a constellation on it. Now, this thing doesn't rotate or nothing, so it has no movement to it. It just shines the lights, right? Well, that cap comes off so you can replace the light bulb. 3 days in a row, I've come in there to, I walk in there in the morning to turn it off and everything, or at night I turn it on. The cap is off, and it's a cap that you have to sit down and like push down, is off into the side. 3 days in a row of me having to take this cap and put it back on. And like, I think she noticed, because I was befuddled. I kept staring at it, and I was like, how is this moving? Because they can't reach it, they can't get to it. It is like head height with me, and they're itty bitty. It's a 4-year-old and a almost 3-year-old, and like, so I'm just like, it's in the back of my head. I'm just like, how is this happening? It's sealed on. The fucking AC vent's not gonna lift it up and move it a little bit and just leave it there. Just like, it's just stuff like that just resonates with you more. I've always been a paranormal person, but the fact that in my mind, I feel like I'm welcoming it more into my life by discussing it so much more.
Well, that was certainly a thought that I had. It's like, how much might this stimulate any kind of
Energy?
activity or behavior? I will say today, while I was put my son down for a nap, and I was in the living room watching an episode of Ghost Adventures. First episode I've ever watched, actually. And while I was watching it, I heard a loud bang. I couldn't tell if this came from inside the house or outside the house, but I heard it. My dog heard it, looked up, it caught my dog's attention, and it woke my kid up. And I saw him sit. I had the baby. I have a video baby monitor with me, and I looked, and then after it happened, I saw him sit up in his bed and look around like he was trying to figure out what had happened as well. And I couldn't place. Nothing had fallen in the house. Didn't look like anything was going on outside.
Well, the wind today was
the wind was blowing pretty hard, which did lead to a few instances of my front door making weird noises.
Yeah.
But this was like, this could have been something falling in the house, or it could have been a car hitting something outside type of bang. It was a loud bang.
Regardless,
I could not locate it.
Regardless, it hits you different.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah. Now, like I said, with me, the baby doll and the fucking thing just happening like the same area of time, just like makes me like second guess things every now and then. It's just because like it's the baby doll can be explained, like stuff like that malfunctions and stuff.
Oh
just
yeah.
The thing that's sitting with me the weirdest is that fucking lid just moving.
Yeah, I'm no stranger to oversensitive toys triggering.
Oh yeah, no. One of my most traumatized memories of being a kid is, do you guys what was his name? There was a fuck, I'm trying to remember what it was, but there was a bear when we were a kid, not Teddy Ruxpin or anything, but he was like a hillbilly bear that had like frizzy hair and overalls.
I know who you're
like,
talking about. Had the hay.
Yeah, and you'd like shake him and stuff, and you go like ooh and stuff like that, right? I cannot remember the name of it to save my life. But when I lived in Indiana, I had a bunk bed that had no bottom bed, just a top bunk, and it was on the floor. And I'm laying in bed as a kid, and I woke up to the sounds of him talking, and then his talk. I'm like, okay, whatever. And this talking gets faster and faster and faster to where it's the incoherent, like, and like I just start screaming because I'm fucking horrified. And it turns out our pug, Bobby, had walked into the room and pissed on it. But still, like, it didn't matter that I was given a reason, like, why it happened. I no longer liked that thing. It's Bubba.
Yeah.
His name was Bubba. And I was like, I fucking hate it. And now every time I see one, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, my son has two toys. One is a dump truck.
Only two toys.
Don't spoil him.
That's more than I got when I was a kid. But he's got this dump truck that it just goes off randomly throughout the day and the night. So we have to make sure we turn that off. And then he's got a little ball toy that you'd push a button on it, it'd play music, and it would roll itself around. Now, my son likes to throw that thing, so it doesn't do that anymore, but it will randomly turn on as well. And when that wakes you up, 3 a.m. from a dead sleep.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It is awful. I just, like I said, it's just, like I said, some of it can be explained away. The funniest thing is the creepier thing, the talking toy is not what's sitting with me. Like I said, it's that lid that is like sitting in the back of my head, living rent free. I just keep thinking about like, what the fuck why is it moving, you know? But that's just me. We also, it's like I said, it's funny because we just released that episode where we talk about it and we mentioned Hill House. Mm-hmm. We did get together and we consumed the first 2 episodes of Hill House. I know one of you was completely, there mentally and physically, and the other one of you might have been not so much, so you might not remember as much, Boze.
I remember quite a bit.
But I mean, we can talk about it since we've said that we consumed it. Like, also on top, before I move past it, the old Amityville movie was good. Acting was good. I mean, some of the actors phoned it in, but it looks solid. I'd recommend it.
How was the pacing?
It was actually pretty good. It, like I said, a lot, you could see heavily like what exactly they verbatim took for Ryan Reynolds' movie.
Yeah.
But like it was a lot more strung out, and I think they covered the dad slowly losing it a lot better. It was a lot more progressive instead of a lot more abrupt.
With some of the older horror movies I've seen, I think the last old movie I saw was the original. What movie is that? It's kind of a zombie film, but not really a zombie film. Something leaks into a water supply at The Crazies. I watched the original Crazies.
That pacing on that movie's ass.
And that movie was I couldn't, like, it's just so boring.
Yeah, no, the pacing on the original Crazy is pretty horrible. Have you seen the newer version of the Crazy?
Yeah.
That pacing is not.
That's what led me to, this is actually years ago. This is actually around the time that the newer version of the Crazies came out. And after watching it, I went to watch the original film, and I couldn't finish it. It was so
I would say the Amityville one is is watchable. I mean, it was long, but I mean, like I said, I think it covered the slow, like the descent into like nutbag for the dad a lot better because it was a lot more gradual. It made him a lot more likable because Ryan Reynolds' character in it was likable at first, but he slipped into the aggressiveness really quick compared to the dad in the original movie.
Yeah. And some of that could have been simply just clips lost in editing.
Well, yeah, but in timing. I mean, the newer movie is way shorter than the other one.
Yeah,
but like I said, they're both very watchable.
Yeah, it's really interesting with older movies like the original Alien, the Ridley Scott Alien movies. The director cut, I think, is completely unwatchable because it adds like 15-20 minutes and it completely ruins the pacing of the film.
Yeah, that's not to get branched too far off of like paranormal and horror, but man, yeah. Around the 80s, pacing was a big problem with a lot of films. That's actually why I can't even... I have trouble watching even the original Star Wars trilogy because I feel the pacing's too slow in those films.
A lot of the older Romero movies had pacing issues too, like your Night of the Living Dead, your Day of the Living Dead, and Dawn of the Dead had really... Because like you got to think, we got the remake of Dawn of the Dead, which I would consider one of the best zombie movies, except for there's scenes in that movie that could be completely cut and would make it the perfect zombie movie. The baby scene in that Dawn of the movie, that whole thing could be removed from that movie, and the movie would not suffer for it. It was unnecessary. Okay. But like those original Romero movies had extremely slow pacing. The original Dawn of the Dead was really bad about it.
Because you got to think of the history of films, especially this was coming right after westerns and samurai flicks, which consider golden age of cinema. Those movies in particular were very slow paced, and that's how directors were taught to film.
Yeah. Well,
so it's not necessarily a problem. It's just for the time what was expected.
I certainly would never argue it's a problem with it, like it as a product as a whole, but it's more of a problem of my interest in watching it because of course we're all products of a different era of filmmaking and pacing.
Yeah, we're used to things coming at us a lot faster.
Yeah, and when you're talking about the horror film, like that's where it really...
Yeah, it hurts it, I feel. Like Romero was really bad about that though, because like he always dives into... He's always, in his zombie movies, he's always had unnecessary scenes that don't really add a whole lot. It was almost like he did it because he could do it type thing, like in the original Dawn of the Dead. There's a whole he's really bad about montages in that movie, if you notice. And it's like I think they even in the newer one they kind of do like a nod to it because they do the montage of them just chilling
in the mall living.
Yeah. But like in that one they did a montage of all the bikers just chilling and fucking up the mall, and they also did a montage of this and that in the original Dawn of the Dead, and just like stuff that really doesn't build anything other than Romero was like, I don't know, I'd like to see a biker ride his motorcycle down the escalator and then jokingly push some zombies, and it's just like it doesn't add to it doesn't pace to anything. But I mean that's his thing, but he was always really about the slow burn zombie movies too, because his stuff always focused on the issues of humans as much as
his movies made political statements.
Oh yeah, especially the original Night of the Living Dead, like it covered racism and everything like that, but like the main character survived everything only to be killed by racist pricks,
Yeah, well, that's something I've always liked about zombie franchises on the whole, is that once you get past dealing with slow zombies, once you get past the culture shock of how it changes life, it always goes back to your biggest problem is how other living humans act in an apocalyptic setting.
Oh yeah, well that circles back to our second episode, the Andrews family. The scariest monster out there in that story was a fucking human being, and that's no difference with that. But I mean, that you talking about that as a good topic all on its own. The difference between, first and foremost, zombie movies are very fucking hit and miss. that's either real. It's almost like there's no medium, you know. It's either really good, or it's fucking horrible.
Sometimes you end up with a Dawn of the Dead. Sometimes you end up with a Land of the Dead.
Listen. Land of the Dead is an awesome movie. I don't care what you say. Like, you got fucking, I always butcher his name. I love him as an actor. John Leguizamo. John Way Leguizamo. How do you pronounce it? John Leguizamo. He voiced Bruno.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He also voiced Luigi. Mario.
I don't recall how to pronounce
I always fucking butcher his name, but he's in it. He plays an awesome shithead. You got homeboy from The Mist. The guy that also plays the vegan cop in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Is the main badass. He's great. You got great characters.
Okay, but a good cast.
It's like, it was a good zombie movie. Oh, you also got to think about it. It just hit me. John Leguizamo's in there, right? Luigi Mario. The main douchebag bad guy is the guy that played Bowser in the fucking Mario movie too.
Yes, that's what we want to remember when watching a zombie flick, one of the shittiest movies of the 80s.
But you got
the fact that I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about the remake. I'm guessing it was a remake. The one where the zombies learn to fire weapons.
Well, no, they learned that in Land of the Dead. Land of the Dead is a progressive, they're like talking about the zombies retain memories and stuff. Because it opens with
I never saw the original.
No, I'm talking about the newer one. Yeah. It opens with Bub the zombie.
Yeah.
Those assholes drive past the gas station and hit the ding ding that lets him know. And he walks out there instinctively from his brain, grunting, and just has his gas pump that's not even connected to shit in his hand. And he's just like, he looks out there and there's no truck and he looks fucking defeated. He's just upset. And he watches these assholes drive through his town. At this point, it is his town. Because all these zombies are just out there doing the bare minimum of what their memories are.
Yeah.
You got the band that's out there in the gazebo half-ass blowing in instruments. You got the cheerleader sitting beside the fucking football field. And basically they're minding their own business. And this fucking crew drives through there to go get materials, but they're not just going to get materials, they're having fun with it. They're fucking shooting zombies and basically they're terrorizing their town. And Bub gets pissed. He puts his gas pump down, he's like, "No, I'm done." And he starts walking in the direction they went. And that is the undoing of that whole human community, is that they couldn't just go get their materials that the zombies weren't using. They had to be shitheads to them and just hope that that they wouldn't retain shit. And one of the most beautiful parts of that movie is once they all do everything, they cross the water, which was the thing that kept the zombies away in the first place. Mm-hmm. You just have them all lined up in the water, and all the zombies are following Bub, and they all just look kind of confused, what are we going to do? And then he just takes that leap of faith and just falls into the water, and the other zombies see him walk up the other side, and they all follow him. But the beautifulest part of that scene is it gets to the last bad guys escaping with his money and everything. And he's put a few rounds into Bub because Bub's just off in the background, and the guy's screaming, "You had no right," because he's pissed the zombies came and fucked up his home, right?
Yeah.
Well, the reason Bub's there is because they came and fucked up his home. Bub walks up to this car, and the guy has no bullets left, and he's laughing because Bub can't do shit, right? Bub looks to the left of him and sees that gas pump. And he picks it up, and when he picks it up, there's power to the place. The gas pump lights up and goes ding ding. And the sheer look of joy in his face, and then he just jams it into the window of the car and turns the gas on and leaves. And the guy, after he leaves, the guy gets out of his car because he got to. It's filling with gas, the fumes, everything. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm good. And then you just hear a grunt up the hill, and it's Bub. And he's like, "Oh!" And he rolls a flaming barrel down the fucking hill, and it fucking gets to that car and just explodes. And it's beautiful. It's just so good. He gets his redemption. He gets to do his job that he wanted to do in the first place.
I get the joy of it, but it's ridiculous.
It's a great movie.
That being said, though, a movie I did enjoy was
I Believe in You. Zombie movie?
It is a zombie film, but it's a romantic comedy.
Oh, you talking about the one with the Twilight zombies where they get their hearts beating back again?
Yeah.
Are you shitting on me? You just shit on Land of the Dead and you're going to go for warm bodies?
Yeah. I did enjoy warm
That
bodies.
whole premise is so goddamn flawed. First and foremost, these people are decrepit. They're missing arms. They haven't been alive for years. And love starts their heart beating again, and then they just go back to being normal humans. What about the missing arms or the bullet holes? They're just fine. Not to mention, you're banging what was a corpse because she was like, I love you. Like, first of all, homie ate your boyfriend. And second of all, he was a corpse. He was a straight-ass corpse. But they came back to...
Okay, that is no less ridiculous than everything that happened in Land of the Dead.
You're comparing zombies getting their thought process back slightly being able to like get to memories to a corpse becoming a living human being again.
He figured that is more than slightly, especially to have the forethought to find a flaming barrel and push it down a hill.
Man, he knows gas is flammable. It's his job, you know?
That is just as ridiculous as their heartbeat starting to happen.
But that circles back to, in my zombie films, like, if zombie has happened, I don't want remake Dawn of the Dead zombies. I don't want a zombie that can run.
No.
Absolutely not.
Oh, God.
And I also don't want Land of the Dead zombies. I don't want zombies that have any kind of coherent thought.
Yup.
So I've been recently watching Kingdom on Netflix, which is a feudal Japan zombie movie. And it is fucking terrifying how those zombies are. So they are runners.
It's horrible.
And this is a time period where they maybe have like 100 muskets in the entire country. So their main weapon is like farm tools and swords for these zombies. And as soon as the zombies start infecting cities, like you see piles of zombies just jumping on one person, eating away and ripping out their guts.
Nope, I don't want runners. I don't want thinkers. I want old Romero shamblers. That's all I want. And then I will try my best. And if I have to deal with running zombies, I am so absolutely fucked. I can run scared for a while, but I'm going to run out of stamina. I imagine if
compared
a corpse
to
can run,
corpse,
they're just going to keep going. You know, the ones in the remake of the Dawn of the Dead were fucking horrifying.
I was in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and I decided I wanted to go check out the Griffith Observatory. I found a parking spot like halfway up the mountain. I still had to take 3 stops to like catch my breath before I could get to the top of that mountain. I'm fucked. There are runners.
Oh, wait, well, while we're on it real quick, let me I know you guys don't have, like you said, like I know you like horror stuff and this is also dabble into sci-fi and stuff. But if you had to name we're creature feature-esque type movies, like top 3 like icon that you would think of like creature-wise. Like me, like my favorite like vampire type movie would be 50 Days a Night. Okay, because those vampires in that are terrifying. Because one, they travel in a pack basically. Have you ever seen it?
No, I haven't. I've always wanted to watch it, but I never have.
Yeah, because it's that one where they literally, these zombies think out. They're like, or not zombies. These vampires think out. Like, there's a town. If we go to Alaska, there's 50 days of nighttime. So they're like, why don't we go to Alaska? And they start like the way it spreads is terrifying. The vampires, the way they move and act is terrifying because they're almost like they're more like animals than humans at that point. I mean, they're still dressed and stuff, but like the way they communicate is like a screeching type noise. And like if their blood gets in, it's not like they sucked my blood. It's if their blood gets in your blood, you're turning.
That's that's common with a lot of with several different vampire movie-esque vampires. I mean, look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You had to drink vampire blood in order to become a vampire.
Yeah, and that's most vampire lore is like they have to drink of yours and you have to drink of theirs.
Yeah, usually
that's the Bram Stoker lore.
Yeah, usually if they drink of yours, you just become a thrall.
Yeah, if they just keep tapping you for a while and don't give you none. Yeah. I mean, if you go back far enough, it had to be they had to drink yours, you had to drink theirs, and then they had to bury you type thing. But yeah, like I would go like if we're talking about like difference and kinds of creatures and everything. If I went to my favorite vampire movie, it'd be 50 Days a Night. If I went to my favorite zombie movie, I would go the remake of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Like I said, to me, it would be the perfect fucking movie if it was not for the zombie baby movie part, the zombie part, the baby thing. It always takes me out of it. I hate that scene.
Yeah.
It's useless. And then I'm trying to think after that. If I went for like werewolf movie, I would go Werewolf in London, personally. If you asked me when I was a 12-year-old boy, it would have been like Underworld. That movie was metal, but no.
Oh God, yeah, the series that wouldn't die.
Yeah, but like you just got. I'm talking like your favorite version of a like well-known creature feature type.
Yeah.
Movie. Like if I went with the trifecta, like the main three, like zombie, vampires, and werewolves, that would be me. 50 Days a Night, I would recommend Dawn of the Dead and Werewolf.
I don't think I have an option for werewolf that I've seen. I don't even remember the name of this film, but I think one of my favorite. I remember things in the movie, and I remember really enjoying the movie. But there was a vampire film where vampires took over the world.
Are you talking about Daybreakers?
I think so. Yeah.
No, wait, Daybreakers was that Netflix show.
No, there was a Daybreakers movie.
Yeah. And
Where like blood banks were a huge thing.
yeah,
stuff like
and
that.
they
I don't
eventually
think I've seen this.
The main characters develop a bullet that turns people human, and they invade a main compound, and their security force, like I said, they're all vampires. The security force comes to stop them, and the guy shoots one of the guys in the security force. He turns human, and the other guys in the security force just jump
His ass. That's
Oh wow,
rough.
I've never seen that.
because blood is becoming scarce in this world.
Yeah, because they're trying to make synthetic blood because
Yeah.
it's like humans are few and far between and everything because they didn't fucking manage their resources very well.
Yeah, and like the way the main character, or one of the main characters, the way they discover this cure is one of the main characters is driving like over 100 in a car and hits something, flies out, bursts in the flames, and then hits the water. And that combination of bursting in the flames from daylight and being submerged in water somehow.
Yeah, you're
turned
definitely talking about
human.
Daybreakers.
Yeah.
It's 100% Daybreakers.
I remember it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember really enjoying that.
I've seen it once. I would definitely go back and watch it again.
Yeah. Let's see other monster films. When it comes to like big time, well known stuff, I don't think I've really watched that many films.
I think a good one for you with your job and like your involvement in media and everything is one of Romero's last few movies he did was Diary of the Dead. And that was film school and drama students. And it was shot in a way to where like it was the handy cam because that was the big thing then, but it was also media students. So they would access security footage and everything because the main guy was like, I'm going to make this my project. This is my movie. I'm going to document all this. So he would get into like security footage if they went to a building and access it and clip it all together. But like it is these film school people and like audio engineers and theater nerds, and they're all trying to get home to different places. So they're in a bus and they're trying to go to this person's house, to this person's house. And it's just like it's shot very uniquely, and then it ties into where it's almost like the event that's happening is the event that happened in Night of the Living Dead, the original zombie event in the Romero universe, but they progressed it like that event happened in a modern timeline. And everything. And they even use footage from the original Night of the Living Dead in there. But it's, like I said, it's clipped together so, like, very odd, like, video engineering. It's like because he's taking footage from different cameras. He has a professional camera, and then he also finds handy cams and this kind of footage.
That's cool.
And he throws it all together. And
Yeah,
it's really
check that out. I will say, I think a zombie film that I really probably would put as one of my favorites, Quarantine.
You're talking about the one in the apartment building and
footage,
everything?
yeah.
That's a pretty good one. That's pretty rough. That's one of those weird, like, rabies type zombies.
Yeah,
I never
it
watched the
is.
sequel that was like an airplane.
But it's got some great...
The first one was really good. The sequel,
I haven't seen the sequel, but it's got some really great moments in that film, like when he's using the camera to kill the zombie.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
So your perspective is just the screen going down and smashing against the zombie. Really fun stuff like that. And I enjoy found footage films.
Done right.
Yeah.
I mean, it all started with Blair Witch.
Oh yeah, which that's on my list of things to watch.
Yeah, we can sit down and watch that. I heard the remake of it here recently was not good.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I could feel you. The found footage stuff was really big for a while, then dropped off, like because what Cloverfield brought it back to life.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of rained from there.
You know, a horror franchise or horror creature that really doesn't get good, like have justice done in media, where it's not really done in a scary way. Mummies.
Yeah,
It used to be like one of the big horror creatures back in like the 50s and 60s, and now, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Brandon Fraser films are phenomenal.
But the last one.
But not the Tom Cruise film.
Well, no, I'm talking. They brought back Brendan Fraser a while back for the one that was like the Chinese mummies,
Yeah.
and that was
The Mummy
bad.
I guess I
It was
never.
the
Yeah,
last
you don't need
one.
to. You don't need to.
It
But
was the
no,
last
I agree
one.
with you because they used to be so prominent.
Yeah,
and then
now whenever they do it, I cannot think of anything in modern time that's like done a scary mummy.
because they couldn't. They nailed it back in the day, and then they came back in the '90s, and they didn't think it was going to be as big as it was, and it became massive. That movie did so good that it did so good that they remodeled fucking amusement parks all over the world to add the mummy rides,
Yeah.
and it may have put Brendan Fraser on the fucking map.
Yeah, well, and they
It
had-
started The Rock's fucking movie career.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Rock
it did.
in the Scorpion King movie, or The Mummy Returns, the second movie, he had one scene where it wasn't CG him. And it was at the beginning where it showed the origin of him. And the reason his career blew up after that is because he was sick as shit the one day they needed him. And he fucking stayed and he busted his ass. And the director was like, "You're amazing. I want to make another movie with you." And they made the Scorpion King movie because of that. And then it's all history from there because he's now like the biggest paid fucking actor.
he is
And
currently the
but
most
they nailed it with that. And then they couldn't ever capture that again. And they tried again with the Tom Cruise shit, and it just wasn't. I don't know if it's because they swapped it. Like they went with the female zombie,
Well,
or
so-
not zombie, mummy. It just didn't
So
feel.
the thing with the Tom Cruise movie was that they weren't so focused on the mummy aspect of the
universe.
film. They were focused on the universe because it was supposed to bring back the Universal monsters.
Yeah, because what's his face was playing Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his in there? And like I really was hoping that it would go well because I fucking love the Universal monsters.
Oh, yeah.
The original Wolfman, which the Wolfman remake a while back was good. I liked it. When they had him all chained up and he's fucking does that scary ass scene where like none of them believe he's a werewolf, they think he's psychotic. And they have him in front of all these therapists and they're all making a big like expo of it. And he's just like in those chains and he's like, "I will kill all of you," and his bones start breaking in his body and he starts shifting. The look on all those fucking therapists' asses when he starts turning into a werewolf in that chair. That movie was good. But like I was hoping that they could revive the Universal monsters. I was hoping it would go good. I wasn't super happy that Tom Cruise was going to be like the penultimate character. I don't mind. I mean, I do like Tom Cruise. War of the Worlds is one of my favorite sci-fi flicks.
Ooh.
I like it. I think it's a
take.
great movie.
I disagree. I enjoyed the Tom Cruise remake as well.
I thought it was
didn't. Because to me, it didn't capture the War of the Worlds.
In
feel.
fairness, it was my first time seeing War of the Worlds, but I think
that made that invasion look horrifying.
Oh yeah.
But like I wasn't super stoked that that's who they were going to lean on for. But I just wanted to see what they would do with the rest. I want to see who's going to play Dracula and like they're doing the Universal monsters. That mean I'm going to get a Gilman movie, The Creature of the Black Lagoon. Is he finally going to get a big movie outside of black and white? I mean, where does it stop? Am I going to get the Invisible Man? Am I going to get like what all are you going to bring into it?
Yeah, 'cause
and
think
now
about
I'll
it.
never fucking know until somebody else
The last
tries
time
again.
some of these characters got a movie was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Which is technically leans into like the graphic novel thing,
Yeah,
which isn't
which-
technically they're those aren't even really the Universal monsters. Those are more of like
The classic
literature
version of
novels.
them.
Because you got Gray, you got the guy with his portrait that ages,
Yeah,
but he
Dorian
doesn't.
Gray.
Dorian Gray. You got Jekyll and Hyde, and like
And
stuff
then
like that.
before that, the last one I think they were all in was that 80s movie where it was a kids horror
That
flick.
wasn't Universal Monsters either. That was Kmart Universal Monsters. That was the Monster Squad.
Yeah.
And that is a fucking phenomenal movie. That movie will make you sad as a grown ass adult.
Yeah.
When you're watching it at the end and they fucking manage to fucking send the fucking all the monsters back into the fucking the veil. God, why am I purgatory? And Frankenstein's monster is getting sucked up, and he's the good guy in the flick. He was their friend and everything, and it's so sad because he's sitting there holding on. The little girl loves him, and he's holding on. And he's basically like looking at her like, you gotta let go or it's gonna take you too. And he lets go and she throws him the bear and he's like, bye, Phoebe, bye. And he's gone. He is stuck there with Dracula and all those other assholes that hate him for the rest of forever. And you're just like, oof. That's the movie where you found out Wolfman does in fact have nards. It's a great flick.
We're probably another, like, at this point, it'll probably be another decade before anybody starts considering another series.
Yeah, they probably could have done it too if they would have just slow build instead of be like, we're gonna do it, we're gonna make the universe like Avengers but monsters.
Everybody wants to do the Avengers thing, but they'd want to rush it.
Well, and to be fair, in defense of Universal for that, Universal had it before Marvel did.
They did, but that shouldn't, your driving force shouldn't be you want to make a big you want to build the big universe and make the big, like, we're gonna tie them all together movie. You need to build the movie first.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, when they made Iron Man, they didn't think that they were going to get all of this. They were like, we're going to make a good Iron Man movie. We're going to make a comic book movie that doesn't suck. And we'll throw in a little thing at the end just like to hope to grease the wheel. They didn't think that like, we're going to make this movie and then Sony is going to let us use Spider-Man because they have to. And then we're going to get the X-Men. We're going to buy Fox. And we're going to put them all together. That wasn't the idea.
Yeah.
And that first movie was so goddamn good. But then there is Marvel movies that get hurt. We are diving way too far away from the paranormal. But I digress. Brandon?
Favorite monsters? So when it comes to vampires, as far as like my favorite type of vampire, I think would go to the I Am Legend vampire.
Are you classify those as vampires?
Those are technically vampires. Now,
I'll give you that. I've never known what.
Yeah, it's
because I know the book is drastically different from the movie.
Especially in the book, you can tell that they are vampires, but they're also like the next step in evolution of humans. So then the book asks the question: who is really the monster? Is it the vampires or is it the last human? And whole moral dichotomy. It's very interesting.
That movie is moving. No, it is. It's great. And I know Will Smith's a hot topic right now and everything. But
I do think the book is much better, but again, it's more of a moral question than the movie is. But as far as my favorite vampire movie, though, it's probably Interview with a Vampire.
I had not watched that till, like, what would you say, like a year ago? Was the first time I ever watched it. First of all, I do love Tom Cruise. I do. I just give him shit, but I love Tom Cruise. And fuck, do I love Brad Pitt.
Oh, I know. And those two together in that film is phenomenal.
And let's talk about one of the only movies where Kirsten Dunst is tolerable.
Yeah. Well, and another thing with that
she is an amazing child actor. Unfortunately, like, it stopped there because I could not stand her as Mary Jane. Mm-hmm. She was just an unhappy human being in those movies.
One interesting with that film, too, if you watch it, there is no CGI in that entire film. That entire film is all practical effects.
It's a great flick.
It still holds up to this day.
It's another one of those heart-wrenching movies, though. Like, it's just like, it's sad in so many parts, and then Tom Cruise plays the perfect asshole. And then you got the follow-up movie, which was such a shame that they could not get him to come back and play himself at least.
They skipped the book in between. Yeah. So in Anne Rice's books, it starts with Interview with a Vampire, then Vampire Lestat, oh, good grief.
I'm trying to think of the name of the movie too.
Queen of the
Damned. There you go.
So the Vampire Lestat is the same story as Interview with the Vampire,
but through Lestat's eyes.
Yeah, but from Lestat's
I would have loved to see that movie with Tom Cruise.
Oh, that would have been so good.
It would have. He killed it. Like I said, it was so sad that they couldn't get him to come back for Queen of the Damned too. That movie would have been just so much better if he was in it.
Because that's the thing, that when Queen of the Damned came out, that was like the height of grimdark movie telling. That's when all superhero movies that were coming out was grimdark. Like the original X-Men flicks.
Back when studios said we can't put them in their blue and yellow jumpsuits, nobody will ever buy that. Yeah. Fast forward like 15 years later, they're in their blue and yellow jumpsuits and everybody's buying that.
Yeah. It's like every movie that came out, the color palette was gray, black, and blue.
Oh yeah, Matrix. The Matrix set the premise.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh, they got to be in leather.
So what about zombie film?
For zombie films, I gotta go with Logan and say the remake of Dawn of the Dead. Like, that movie is just so good.
Honestly, I've got to agree.
It's a fantastic movie. First and foremost, you have what's his name? It's the guy that did the movie. I know his name. Snyder. Snyder's who that is. Snyder is the king of opening music based montages.
Oh yeah, well, like
He
just
kills that movie.
I didn't even realize that was Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
the
Zack
first
Snyder.
10 minutes of that movie is so horrifying when you're following that nurse as she gets home, and then
Yeah, and then it starts playing Johnny Cash.
Yeah, it starts playing
and
Johnny Cash.
shows the world unravel.
it's like everything's normal. Then all of a sudden, holy fuck, what happened?
Yeah.
He's the king of that. Like he can do that with a good song, and he just murders it. Like he does a montage and a song. He does it twice in that movie. He does it with the Johnny Cash song at the beginning and the intro, and he does it with Richard Cheese's Down with the Sickness halfway through. Love them both. And then he comes back. The new movie he just did, City of the Dead, or what is it? The one that's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. I've been to watch.
Yeah, the one with the thieves.
Yeah, is it-
Watched
It's the Dave Bautista film.
Yeah,
Is it City of the Dead?
Yeah, I think
It's the one in
City of
Las
the Dead.
Vegas.
It is City of the Dead.
I don't want to mess
Yeah,
it
it's
up.
like
but
a
that's it.
heist zombie film.
But I love that movie.
haven't seen it
It raises so many questions because there's
looks dope.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
weird shit going on in that movie that like it raises so many questions. And Netflix is about to put out an animated show about it called
that's
Lost Vegas. But like he does it in that movie too. Musical number showing what happened to Las Vegas day one. And like it's outstanding. And like not to ruin it for you guys because it's something we should watch, but there is weird shit all throughout this movie. Like it's kind of like this is gonna bring us back to our thing. It's gonna bring us back to Hill House because there is shit going on in the background that if you miss, it'll blow your mind when you go back and see a scene on YouTube or something that this was there. Because you got this zombie movie that starts via military accident, like a convoy that's being escorted somewhere, flipping over and something getting out, and the first zombie gets out and spreads it. Now, like you watch all this, and like when I was watching it the first time with Kayla, there's a scene where all these zombies are swarming in the casino, and you see that like hints to that scene in the trailer. You see a zombie get shot in the face, and sparks fly out of its head. And then you see another zombie in another scene, and these are all just normal zombies. Its eyes are glowing blue, right? And I was just like, what the fuck? That was weird. And then I go back after I watch this movie, and I just like it hits me. I think about it, and I type it in YouTube, like, what's going on with this? And then they're like, you think this is weird? Did you catch this? And it shows the convoy at the beginning, right? As it's leaving the military compound, there's 3 lights in the sky in the middle of the night. And as the convoy goes to leave, these 3 lights just fly off in different directions, and they're gone, like UFOs.
Huh.
And then they're like, you thought that zombie that got shot in the face is weird? How about this zombie that gets shot in the face and you clearly see a metal frame in it? But they're all the other zombies are organic, but here and every now and then there'll be one glowing blue eyes. And there'll be one that gets shot and sparks fly out of it. And then you got this alien shit. And like just like weird shit sprinkled all throughout this movie, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And you just want to know more about this world. And then they're like, we're gonna do an animated movie, and we've got another movie coming up that's a movie about this character that was in this movie before the zombie epidemic. It's the Safecracker guy, and it's a movie about his origin. And you're like, what's going on with this universe? And I tell you what, the fucking Safecracker movie that was like the prequel to it before the zombies, fucking outstanding. And it was just weird. But yeah, I'm going with Dawn of the Dead, but I'm also going with like Snyder fucking just kills.
That's it. It sounds like they are slow building
just this crazy ass universe.
interesting world.
But that circles back to Hill House.
Oh yeah, I like after you pre-warning us about watching stuff in the background, I hardly pay attention to what's going on in the foreground.
There's so much spooky shit that's going on in the background, but like we watched the first 2 episodes, which it's a slow burn, but it's not a slow burn because there is a lot of creepy throughout it.
Yeah,
and it's not even just like the paranormal creepy of it; it's the overall tone of it, like the dealing with like death and family, and like the funeral home all on its own. Like let's circle back to it. Like I'd like to know what like your guys' your feelings towards it are.
I mean, generally, and I mean we're only 2 episodes in, so it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's left me with a lot of questions. I want to see more. Like I said, it's hard to pay attention to what's going on in the foreground because I'm looking so closely in the background for anything that's like hidden and spooky. But yeah, it's it's a trip. Just the ending of that first episode.
Oh, you're talking about
terrifying.
Yeah, because you get this whole episode and like you're going back and forth. You're starting off with the family, when all the kids, this family with big kids, they're all just getting settled into the house, and you're seeing this family, and you're seeing their interactions with each other, and they're clearly a close-knit family at this point. Like, the dad is awesome. Every scene you see with him when he's old and young, he's great.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids love him when they're little, and you understand clearly. And all the kids seem to get along, and then it does like a cut into the present time. And it seems like almost every one of them fucking hate each other, and they all fucking hate dad. And you're like, what? You're like, what's going on? And then you got Nell calling and everybody ignoring her, and you're seeing like she's having a mental breakdown. You're like, what is wrong with these people? And you're just kind of getting a split. You're getting spoon fed. Like,
oh yeah,
you're knowing something had to go down to drive them all apart, and they kind of let you know like mom died, and you're like, okay, and you get a little bit more and more as you go on, but it's just like, it makes you want more, because you want to know why is everybody hate dad so much. Because even when they show dad as he's older, he's still like, as soon as he gets that call from Nell,
oh yeah,
he fucking stops what he's doing. I mean, albeit he's sleeping in his bed and like creepy shit was going on in his bed.
Yeah.
He fucking got up and he called his son that he knows hates him, told him what to do. You need to get to your sister. And he's like, I'm coming, Nell, I'm coming. And like, he dropped everything he was doing to go to that girl when nobody else could bother to pick up the fucking phone and talk to her.
Yeah.
All he had to do was get a phone call, and he was on his way. Now, that's a fucking good dad. Especially in a series like where, like I said, I've talked about multiple times before, dads always get a bad rap in horror movies. Like, they always do. They're always the like most skeptic and like the get over it type thing, but that's not the case with him.
Oh yeah, and the one to snap.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I'm with you. That ending scene where the older brother gets home and he finds the brother that everybody doesn't talk to anymore because he had a drug problem, walking down his stairs with his iPad and his camera in his hand. And
the iPad.
and he's so disappointed at this point in time, but he's so used to it to where he's like, listen, and he's a famous author at this point. He's like, listen, you can't have the iPad. You can keep the camera and hawk it, but give me my iPad. I'll pay you for it. And he gives him $200 just to keep his own property, and his brother fucking leaves. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and he's already dealt with this on the way home. He already dealt with his father calling him, telling him that Nell's going to be going to his house, which isn't his house anymore because clearly he's going through a divorce or something.
Yeah.
And he gets up to his door, and of course his door's kicked in because his brother just broke in there to steal shit. And he gets in there, and there's Nell just sitting in the corner, and he starts bitching at Nell.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, Jesus, Nell, you scared me. You just sat there and watched him steal my shit. He's like, oh, real nice. How'd you even get the address? And he's just talking shit to her. Doesn't even bother to say hi or what's going on. Like, he just starts talking shit to her because that's what the family's at right now. It seems like nobody likes anybody except for the two sisters.
Yeah.
And he's talking shit to her, and he answers the phone, and it's dad, and it's breaking up, and he's like, it's Nell. And he's like, yeah, dad, I know. And he keeps trying to say that she's here to his dad, but his dad keeps going. And then it hits you with that dialogue. His dad's phone call clears up, and she's like, she's dead. And he's like, what? And this is the skeptic. This is the paranormal author brother that just got done dressing down one of his fans at a house he was researching, saying that he's never seen anything, and he doubts it. And he's like, what do you mean and he turns around, and she's right up in his fucking grill, and her face just drops like she's trying to scream, and her just goes corpsey looking, and he falls on his ass. And is just terrified. And that's the end of the first episode. And you're just like, fuck.
You know what I would like to see in a horror film, a ghost film specifically, and non-comedy? I would like to see somebody swing on the ghost.
Just take a pot shot and it just not land?
Yeah, like especially like at that moment where she ends up in his face. Like, everybody has a certain response. Some people, it's to immediately run. Some people, it's to immediately swing. We see funny videos on the internet all the time of, like, somebody popping out of a trash can
and getting decked
and getting punched in the face. I genuinely like to start seeing, like, some stuff where someone's first response is to swing on the ghost, and then how terrifying it would be after that to know that it didn't work.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, every time we see it, we always see people frozen in terror or jumping back and running away, but we never see the other side of that response.
I'm sure there's got to be something out there, but there's nothing that comes to mind for sure.
The only thing that comes to mind is Scary Movie.
But yeah, the first episode, like I said, killed it. We got to see stuff. We got to see glimpses of the bent neck lady that was haunting Nell as a child, and like the weird shit happening in the houses, the big house while they were kids and everything. And clearly, the fucking the scene. I can't remember if it's episode 1 or 2, where it woke up, like it showed Dad waking up the oldest son in the middle of the night. That would be fucking
Close your eyes,
terrifying.
don't look.
Your dad comes in your room in the middle of the night and wakes you up and is like, listen, he locks
the first episode.
He locks the door and he's like, listen, he's like, well, I'm gonna take you out here and you have to be quiet and you have to promise me you keep your eyes closed. And he's like, what's going on? He's like, no, you have to promise me and keep your eyes closed. And then he hears something coming down the stairs or walking down the hallway and he just slowly locks the door and you just watch that doorknob
Yep.
just like 3 or 4 goes and backs and forth, and Dad listens to it leave, and he's just like, it's like, okay, we're gonna go. Don't look. That little bastard looks, of course, but he just runs. And like I made a joke while we were watching it. I was like, hey, at least you know who's the favorite because Dad came and got you first.
Find out he's
But
the
then
last
they get to
one.
the car and every one of his siblings are already in the car. And I was like, never mind. Clearly, there was a pecking order, and you were at the very fucking bottom of it. He's like, he's the oldest. He'll make it. He's fine. So you think how many trips Dad had to make in that terrifying situation?
Well, now,
And how many times he had to give that speech to a kid that night?
Well, also, bigger, like, okay, so that leaves questions like, okay, why did she not check a room until he was in the room? Like,
Big fucking house. That's a big
Yeah,
fucking
it's a
house.
big
right, but all the kids are down the same hall. I want to see what, and maybe they'll show it, but I want to see like what led up to him making that decision to do that. Like,
Yeah.
what was going on? What was his interaction with her, or what was her behavior
Well, and
that made him?
we've both seen the Liam Neeson film and the original 1950s.
Yeah, but this is.
Let me tell you, this is nothing like
this
her.
has no similarity in story. In those, they bring a group. Well, first of all, the Liam Neeson film specifically, they're
Nothing like
doing a.
Psychic study type
Yeah.
bullshit.
They're doing a fake paranormal investigation to do a study on the people they brought. In the original 1950s film, they're paranormal investigators investigating.
Yeah,
the
and
place.
this is just about
This is
the
the
family.
family's experience in a house. This is loosely based. This is inspired, I should say, by that other that original haunting. But this is like those films. Like knowing anything about those films has nothing to do with what we know.
Well,
about the film.
because I know that they took some of the scenes, like when Nell was doing the ballroom dancing through the house.
Yeah, no,
that
that
was
is-
in both
Yeah.
of the original films.
And that will they will do little nods like
Yeah.
that and stuff, but that is about as far as it goes as far as correlation between those films.
Yeah.
But there was other great scenes in like the second episode, like the whole story arc with the kittens was completely fucked.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
When that fucking bug crawled out of the correlation between the bug,
No, she's not dead. She's not. Look, she's alive.
and then
Oh.
that bug crawls out of that kitten's mouth. And then it circles back to later where she's autopsying her own fucking sister.
Yeah.
And in she sees that shit again, but her sister's mouth. It was just so fucked. And then like she goes to turn off the lights in there because she's like, clearly I've had enough. I'm seeing shit.
Yeah.
And when she turns that light off, that second fucking table has a body on it all of a sudden, and it sits up, and it's just like there's just that right beam of light from the cracked door hits Mom's face, like half of Mom's face, and she's just sitting there staring at her, and she smiles. And she has that box that the fucking cats were buried in her hands. It's just, fuck, it's haunting.
Which you would think, based on their interactions as children, to re-experience this stuff, they would fucking talk about it. Especially.
Well, you gotta think, though. They all, like, the haunting crap, like, some of them said they saw stuff and everything, but it all circles back to, like, them all saying that Mom had mental health issues. So you gotta think, if that happens to you and your mom has mental health issues, you're gonna be thinking like, I'm nuts. I have whatever poisoned my mom's brain. I probably have it too. And then like you're just like, you don't want to talk about it because people are gonna be like, oh, you're a nutbag like your mother. And you're just like, you just kind of keep it to yourself. Not to mention who you're gonna talk to, because in that thing, she clearly was fighting with her husband.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to talk to any of her siblings about it, even the one that she's relatively close with. They both have very different in opinions and everything.
Yeah.
And everything. It's just like, it's just rough. It's a great show, and I can't wait to watch more episodes with y'all.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to check more of it out.
Yeah.
But like I said, we got 2 episodes into that. I think, I mean, really, we probably should wrap up around now. But like I said, we'll get ready. We'll be doing this more often. After we all have a cycle through our storytelling, we'll go me, then Brandon or Boze, and Matt, and then we will do a chiller filler episode. Just kind of touch base with the guys, see if anything changes. Because like as we do research stuff, everybody's ideals are going to change. Because you'll read cases where you're like, oh, there's no way this isn't real, and then you'll read cases where you're like, oh, this had to be bullshit, or this is clearly folklore, and this could be real. Mm-hmm. And it will change our opinions over time. And like also while we're doing this, we will be diving into pop culture and media that circles around our subjects. I know we dabbled off here a little bit where we started talking about like superhero flicks and stuff, but like we are taking in more. Like I said, I'm a huge horror fan. I've never watched the original or the Amityville horror movie, the 1978 one. And I watched it because of just this, like we're talking about it and everything. So I wanted to dive into it. And I think Chiller Filler will be a great way just to get that vibe of the whole group and talk about it. And also give our fans a break from the actual stories and just listen out, you know? So this was Logan, the United States of Paranormal podcast. I'll be signing off.
It's Matt Frisby.
Boze.
Thanks for taking a ride with us on the creepy highway of the United States. Catch y'all later.
To support other Golden Mojo entertainment productions, check out Golden Image Podcast, The Call Guys, and Murd Nerds wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. To see photos and find new episodes of the United States of Paranormal, follow us on our social media. Twitter at TUSOPPOD, or Instagram at the United States of Paranormal, and Facebook, the United States of Paranormal. If you have a place that you'd like us to look into, or would like to share your spooky story that we can read on the air, please email us at the United States of Paranormal at gmail.com.